Hello everyone, how are you? I want to say something very important today before I start the question. And I have uploaded this question 49 and I have received such positive response from all of you who have been watching it. Thank you so much for the support. I have received many comments on that they liked the video, they liked my explanation, and everything was like in an order. Report writing, how to focus on the numbers, how to focus on the theory part and overall the report format and all. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the love, for all your response. It means a lot to me, trust me. And I hope that I will be doing better and better on each question, right? So thank you for that. And now coming to question 50 for today. This question is about, what is it about? In your guess, for the ones who haven't gone through this question or didn't read anything at all, it is about net present value. Finally, we are out of that reconstruction. Maybe we have later on more of reconstruction because 48, 49, both the questions were on reconstructions and reorganization. So I think even you people got bored of it, right? Always the same type of question. So now we have something new. Net present value. How a net present value question comes in a 50 marks question. Usually, okay, I have seen this trend, right? I don't know whether you observe the trend or not for the 50 marks, but I have seen it. And I have seen this one thing. There's two questions, okay, appears most in your 50 marks question. One is net present value and your adjusted present value also, or maybe just net present value. And the other one is acquisition and merger. These two questions, most of the time I have seen 70% or 70 to 80% it comes in your 50 marks question. So what does it imply? It implies that you have to focus more on your net present value and your acquisition and merger. Where is the other three sections? Okay, your exchange rate risk management, your interest rate risk. This comes till now. I haven't attended a 50 marks on this, but when I attend, I will know. But usually, this comes in your 25 marks question, and even your reconstruction comes in 25 marks question. But that does not mean that net present value will always come for 50 mark only. It can come as a 25 mark question also. It can come for even the same for acquisition and merger. So it can change. But the trend which I have been seeing is most of the time it comes as a 50 marks question, the net present value and acquisition and merger. There's a reason why it comes like that. The reason is because these are the questions, these are the syllabus area, your net present value and acquisition and merger, where the question can be twisted and asked in many different ways. That's the reason it can come as a 50 marks question. But when you focus on the other two, reconstruction, it also comes, but not so much, right? Sometimes there are papers also where reconstruction is not at all asked, right? There could be like that. Sometimes, let's say if reconstruction comes, acquisition and merger does not come at all, but you cannot predict, right? Because you have to learn all the syllabus area. And part A, which is role of senior financial advisor, that's your theory part. All it's the biggest chapter. I think there are around five chapters are there in your textbook. If you see, is on section A only. But it is theory part. You have to read it, and this theory part applies across all. Even in your 50 marks, it will come. Even in your 25 marks, the 225 marks question, theory part will come. Some are independent theory. Some are you need to. Some are like it's like it is dependent on your calculations. Comment on this. What are the assumptions used? So this type of theory. You should be able to handle both the type of theories. Okay. You and especially those kind of theory which is independent theory. For that you need to read. You need to do lots of reading. Okay. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to accumulate that knowledge? Theory part is, let's say in a day you are doing attempting two questions, maybe 150 mark, 125 mark. That's how I would suggest. If I have to, because now we are in this 1 month, we just have 1 month left. January is almost ending, tomorrow is 31st, and we just have 1 month of Feb, that's it. March, I'm not counting the 5 days because those are your resting days. You need to rest. It's not that you study till the end of the exam. No, don't stress out like that. Don't burn out. At least 2 to 3 days before exam, just rest. Don't do anything. No past paper, nothing. You need to relax. Your mind needs to relax, calm down. So this, what you have to do in this 1 month, you can do questions. This is your question practice time. Not learning. You're not learning a concept now. This is not that time. Yes, you can go refresh and review again or learn again if you have forgotten on something when you're doing questions, but not, you're not learning anything from scratch now. That is done. Now it is your time to practice questions. All make sure that you have attempted all questions at least once. Now maybe you can do second time. You can go again it. Second time when you do, it is not compulsory that you have to do all questions. If you can do all questions better, but if you can't, it's also all right. Just pick any questions randomly on each area. Make sure that it focuses on each area. Let's say you are not doing all the questions only from exchange rate risk management and not doing any questions from other areas. No, it should not be like that. You should focus at least 2 to 3 questions from each syllabus area, from exchange rate, from net present value, from acquisition and merger, from reconstruction, from the theory part. Everything needs to be covered. And usually in a single day, you cannot cover all the area. So just make a timetable like that for this 1 month. Okay. Of course, you'll be doing past paper and mocks. But before that, make sure your revision kit is over. Don't jump to past paper right away. You will not be able to handle it. If you haven't practiced a single question in your revision kit, don't even think of doing that past paper. You will fail miserably. I'm telling you on this. Because this, my experience is telling me. Okay? So don't do this. We think that we'll be able to do it. But what happens is sometimes we overestimate ourselves. We think we can do this, we think we can do that, also we can do everything perfectly. But my dear friends, reality is very different, right? It is very different. You will not be able to do it. Even though when you're studying, it looks very easy because you're understanding everything when you're studying. But when it comes to application of question, things are very different. Things are very different. You have to use your mind also there. There are time where something, let's say such things are not ever taught to you before. You don't know how to solve this. From which angle? There you have to use your presence of mind and somehow you have to find a way because everything cannot be taught. There are some things where you have to use your own intelligence in some questions, some part of the questions. Let's say a new question comes in your paper. Of course, it will come. At least one new question every year it comes, which has never been tested before in the past paper. There, how you are using your intelligence matters a lot. So you cannot say I wasn't prepared for this type of questions or we never studied. Yes, it is true. When I got questions, there were questions which I got. I also was never prepared, but I never left it incomplete. You still should have that courage. You still should have the confidence that I will be able to solve this question. How? Just try to link it with other areas, syllabus area. You have studied so many of things. Maybe not directly, but through other things you are answering this question. So you should have that ability by now. By now, at this stage, today is what, 30th Jan? You have to be confident enough now to say that I'm going to pass AFM or I'm going to pass any paper, whatever you are giving. You cannot be at this stage. You just have 1 month left. At this stage, you cannot say I'm not confident. I haven't done enough. What do you mean I haven't done enough? Then what did you do the last 1 month or 2 months? What did you do? Some of you blame the time that we didn't get enough time. Some of you who have maybe we at least take 3 months. Okay, 3 months is required to plan. So for them, I'm not talking because they are lucky enough that they were 3 months. For those students who had who were waiting for the result. So if you wait for the result that was in Jan, so you just have barely 6 months left. So don't say that I just have 6 months left to prepare for AFM. That's why I couldn't prepare. That should not be your reason. Even in 6 months, if you ask me, is it possible to pass AFM in 6 months from scratch if I don't know anything? I would say yes, it is possible. but you have to increase your intensity of work. Maybe when you had 3 months, you could work. You are, of course, you're studying every day, but you're studying less hours you are putting every day, but you're covering the syllabus somehow. But now, if since you're having only 6 weeks, okay, that means you have to work more. If in 3 months' time you had to work 2 hours per day, now you have to work 5 6 hours. So that should be your strategy. You should increase your intensity with that same timetable which is there for 3 months. You cannot apply in 6 months and 6 weeks and say, I'm going to pass AFM. You cannot. If you are doing less than what is required, don't think that you're saving time, but you're cheating with yourself actually. You're not saving time anywhere. For all of you who are thinking that if I don't, if I study less means I'm just doing 1 or 2 questions under each and trying to somehow finish it, then you're cheating with yourself. You're not doing justice to it, right? So for all of you, you have been asking me for the study plan and all and all. There is no proper study plan. One study plan does not fit for all. That's the reason I'm not giving you a study plan. I will give you a study plan individually, because I deal with each students, whoever is seeing my video, whoever connects with me or messages me on my social media. I always, what do I do first? I never give them a recommendation or advice. I don't just sit and start giving any kind of advice. You need to do questions. Everyone says you the same thing only. You go to any teachers anywhere in this world. If you say, well, what do I need to pass? Everyone will say you practice this question, that question, this question, and you're like lost. But what do? I talk with you. I ask you questions. If you say I ask you certain questions, I inquire what is your background in case of relating to your study, your ACCA. You are at which stage? How many papers you have done before? Did you do any professional paper? What is your learning way? What is your learning strategy? I ask these questions from every one of you. The reason I ask is every individual is different. I treat every student not according to how I want to treat. I treat each individual. I deal with each one of you in your own way, how you will feel comfortable. Because every one of you have different learning techniques, different learning methods. If I say you one, the other person might not agree with it. It might not work. For example, me as an individual, if you consider me, I'm a person, I'm actually like, the good thing about me is no hard work is required for me to stay focused or concentrated. Because from childhood also, I was very focused. I was very hardworking, very dedicated towards my study. I actually kind of I like studying. I enjoy studying, not for passing. I never study for passing an exam. I just love enjoying. I study for the sake of knowing things, how something works. So that passion is there, right? So, so ACCA was not so tough for me because ACCA requires long hours of study. Yes, I would not say long hours, but intense. When you are in ACCA, when you're studying that, you have to be in that world. You have to be lost in that world. You cannot think of anything else. So I was like that kind of person. And it's very easy for students to lose focus in ACCA when you're studying also. I have talked with individuals to individuals. I know how they are. 98 or 95% I would say is easy. They lose focus. Only 2% are very hardly dedicated, intense. They never lose the focus from their goal. So my job is not to focus on that 2% is already good in their job. They're doing studying, they're doing everything, that's fine. My job is to work on the other 98% of those students who are finding it hard to sit and study ACC. That's the reason I have started this YouTube channel and giving you videos. Because whatever you can study in that 1.5 hour, if you watch 1.5 hour of my videos also every day, you don't have to go and study again. You don't even have to read your textbook also, because that much I give you in my videos, that much information I give you in my videos, that you don't even have to go back and search also. Maybe it's just 1.5 hour or 2 hours video for you or 1 hour video for you, but this is my experience which I'm sharing with you. Smart, the one who is smart They will carry forward my knowledge, my experience, and utilize in their work. The one who are not able to get it, who just think that it's a waste of time, I should not watch this video. Not my video, any video. It's just wasting time. These videos are not wasting time. You just have to know how to utilize. Let's say you are not watching my video. Now, if you sit and try to work this on your own, it will take 3-4 hours for you to do it. It will take. But if you are watching a videos of someone who is experienced and is talking, it will only it requires less time, and you will be in those less time. You will get access to this wide area of knowledge and experience which you never had thought also. That's the reason why you have to watch these videos. Why I recommend students to watch my videos or anyone's video, whoever is uploading. That's not just my video only you have to watch. In fact, I suggest students watch my video, but watch other person's videos also on the same area and see. Maybe from here you are getting something, from the other videos you are getting something else. But one thing for ACCA students, don't get distracted by too many videos online. You don't have to know each and everything. You don't have to watch all the videos on the topic. 1 or 2 videos on this topic, let's say AFM. If you're watching, let's say, some net present value, 1 or 2 videos is enough for you, or just it's enough for you to understand everything, because every video, every lecturer repeats the same thing in different words. The way might be different, that's it. Their way is different, approach is different, but the meaning remains the same. The concept is the same thing only they are saying. So don't try to watch 10-20 videos per day and become tired. Watching video, another thing I want to clarify. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I'm not starting the question, I know, but these are very important, guys. Like, it is actually important. It is for you, I'm telling you, not for me. I have passed that stage. So you don't have, see, if you watch video, does not mean that you will pass, okay? Your success is not linked to how much you study or what you see. Through just seeing videos not enough. You might be thinking, okay, I watched this video, now I understood. Till you actually sit and do that questions and apply, use your calculator, use your brain, think within the time limit, you will never understand any concept. You will never understand that you have understood this concept properly or not. So this is my advice, that watch video, but after that try to do that question also. Do questions on your own. You have to take that time out for yourself, because this 1 month is very critical. You cannot let anyone disturb you at this time. This is your time, completely your time. No party, no hanging out, nothing. You have to sacrifice all this. Are you willing to? If you are, yes, you're on the right track. AFM, let me tell you, is a very wide syllabus. It is very time pressured paper. So many of calculations and time is limited. So don't take this for granted. No matter how good, how smart you are. If you are not able to show your smartness in the paper, then even if you know this wide area of knowledge, if you have for AFM, you're not smart, you're not called smart. Because remember, ultimately, at the end of the day, our goal is to pass this paper, whether at 50, whether at 90. Passing is passing only, you have to pass. So make sure that whatever you're doing is towards passing your goal, that's it. In this 1 month, that is the only thing I can tell you, that is the only thing you have to do. Nothing else on this world. Everything else can stop. So that's it for this. I want to, advices and all. What do you have to do and what you don't have to do. This is for those students who requested me to tell me something, what they have to do in this 1 month. Now coming to question 50, starting with requirements, of course. But just skim, okay? It's not that you're not at all reading the case study. When you go also through the paper, let's say I'm going slowly, I'm skimming. I'm seeing inflation rate is given, I am seeing a company is given, I am seeing the assembly plant in this something. Okay, I'm just seeing the subheadings. I'm skimming through by seeing the subheadings. Sale component unit is given. Okay, I can see redundancy and loss contribution. I can see the spot rates are given. That means this is an international net present value. because exchange rates are given to you. Did I read the case study? Did I read the case study in full? I didn't read the case study, but still I know this is an international net present value just by seeing few information. So you have to be smart enough to pick things like this. Just skim through it. Just see. And I can see inflation rate is given. Good. Now coming to the requirements, there are two requirements. Part A, 5 marks. Discuss the possible benefits and drawbacks to Imoni company of setting up its own assembly plant in Yilandwe compared to licensing a company based in this to undertake the assembly on its behalf. So this is about licensing versus investment. You have to say drawbacks and benefit. 5 marks. This is a pure theory question. It is not linked to any calculations or number. You just have to say benefit and drawback. For this, you should have knowledge of this. It is given in your textbook. Okay, so what is the main thing? Benefit, drawbacks of licensing or own assembly plant. Own assembly plant versus licensing. So this is the time that you have to know about licensing. If you forgot what is licensing, what are the benefits and drawbacks, now you have to go back to your study textbook and study licensing again. This is your approach in your last 1 month. You are not studying from the textbook and coming to revision kit. You are from the revision kit, you are going to study text and only focusing on those areas where you forgot, where you need more revision. Okay, 5 marks. Coming to part B, prepare a report. Okay, so it's a report. Part B is a report. 3 things are there, so your report has to be in this order only. First one, second one, and third one. First, evaluate the financial acceptability of the investment in the assembly plant in this. Financial acceptability, underline the country also, of the investment in the assembly plant. Okay, what does the financial acceptability? See, nowhere here, if you go through the other parts also, nowhere they have told find net present value. Nowhere they have told calculate net present value. Did they give you anything about net present value in your requirements? Forget about case study. Maybe they have referred in the case study, but in your requirement, did they tell you? They didn't tell you. So how will you know it's a net present value? Because the word financial acceptability or financial feasibility or financial viability, this words tells you, hints you that it is net present value. So just write it net present value. Sometimes it is net present value plus adjusted present value also. But in this case, okay, for you to decide whether it's adjusted present value, also you have to read the case study first. That you cannot decide. But net present value, yes, for sure. 21 marks, just have a look in the number also. Marks. We know it is net present value. We know how to calculate net present value. Say some cost you take and some tax you take and find the cash. And discount also using cost of capital. And you get your net present value. But 21 marks, how are you going to get this 21 marks? It's a huge amount of marks. Okay. So think about the marks. Coming to second part. Discuss the assumptions made. You see, I have told you yesterday when I made question 49. Please, you can refer my question 49 also. Same thing I told you. There it was reconstruction and they told assumptions. Here it is net present value and assumption. Assumptions will be in your 50 marks question. It will be there. Discuss the assumptions made in producing the estimates and other risks and issues. Other risks and issues which the company should consider before making the financial decision. Again, see the mark 17 marks. 17 marks has to be divided into these 3 areas. Assumption, risk and issues. These 2 areas. So number 1 is assumption, number 2 is risk and issues. Just knowing one assumption, not enough. Just knowing one risk and issue, not enough. At least 4 to 5, at least 2 to 3, 4 to 5. This should be a range to get the 17 marks. Coming to third, 3 marks only. Even if it is less mark, don't take it for granted. I have seen students who this is just 3 marks. Don't say like that. Even to score that 3 marks, you have to requires a lot of thinking. In fact, it's harder to get less. The lesser the marks, harder it becomes for you. But if it's more marks, it's easier for you to get marks because there are so many marks for the workings. But in 3 marks, point has to be exact. There is no marking for your workings. provide a reasoned recommendation on whether or not the Imoni company should invest in the assembly plant in this one. It is about recommendation for this company, whether they should invest in the assembly plant in some another country. This is another country. 3 marks only. So at least 3 points you have to give. Professional marks are awarded for formal structure presentation. This is repeated all the time. So that's it for this. Now coming to the case study. Case study for 50 marks will be very long, and before going to case study, put time limit. Set time. For 5 minutes it will be 5 into 1.8 because 1.8 minutes per mark. So 5 marks into 1.8. How many? 9 minutes. Exactly 9 minutes you have to spend on this. Always write your starting. When you see your clock in the exam, see when you are starting the paper, when you start reading the paper. Write it somewhere down. How much time you spend reading the paper. How much time is gone. From that, minus it. And keep 9 minutes for part A. And this 9 minute does not mean that 9 minutes you are writing only. This 9 minutes include your thinking and writing. Okay. You have to think. You have to plan the layout, everything. What, how are you going to write? Which point you are going to present first? Which point you are, and then write. So this 9 minutes is just not your writing for 9 minutes. You have to think also. You just come on. You read a question. You cannot just start writing. You need to think, right? How you have to structure. What are the points? It takes some time, but that time should not be like too long. Okay, that 5 minutes you are thinking, 4 minutes only you are writing. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes you are thinking, and then the other 6 minutes you are writing, and then you are writing. So this 9 minutes include all, even for all the question. Think, plan, write. Okay, I would say this TPW as a short form. You can use this TPW. Coming to part B, 21:17:3. Okay, this, so 21 minutes. 21 into 1.8 is 37.8. I will down in fact, because you have to be strict with yourself. So give less time than required. 37. Then 17 into 1.8. 30.6. I will give it 30 minutes. And coming to 3. It is 5. Now just, okay, because 50. If it is 50 marks, total has to be 90 minutes. Now just calculate all your minutes and see. Part A was 9 minutes. 37 plus 30 plus 5. It is 81 minutes. So you are left with 9 minutes extra. So this 9 minutes, because it is total 81 minutes if you calculate. But you total have 90 minutes. You are not putting extra marks for the professional marks, by the way. Your professional, that 4 marks does not require more minutes. Okay, because you're not writing anything extra. Professional marks does not mean you're writing extra. It is just your format and layout, everything, right? So 9 minutes extra. So utilize this 9 minutes properly. This 9 minutes, I don't know what. This 9 minutes, utilize it properly. This 9 minutes you can spend in anywhere. Part A also, part B also, part A, first part, anywhere. Maybe this 9 minutes you can give yourself a reading. Because you calculated that 81 minutes you require for writing. So this 9 minutes, maybe you can spend for reading the whole case study. So this is what I say, a proper time management. I am not wasting more than 90 minutes on this question, section A question. Now coming to reading the requirement. Okay, so now today what I'm going to do, I'm going to time myself and read this, whether I'm able to finish this exactly in 9 minutes or not. Okay, so I will explain you each when I go to the answer how it is applied, but not when I'm reading the case study, because when I explain I will require more time. So exactly 9 minutes I'm going to read, and you are also going to read this with me now for 9 minutes. Time yourself. Okay, I just want to start this exactly on 30 minutes. I think I 10 seconds left, so then we'll start reading. And I am putting an alarm also, So after 9 minutes, okay, done. Yilandwe, whose currency is this, has faced extremely difficult economic challenges in the past 25 years because of some questionable economic policies and political decisions made by its previous government. International, you have to talk about, okay, questionable economic policies and political decisions made by previous government. Although the population is generally poor, whenever any country's information is given, underline, okay, its people are nevertheless well educated, because this you need later. When some about culture or their policy, political something is given, underline it. These are non-financial factors, because since this is international net present value, you need this non-financial factors also to take into account. Just over 3 years ago, a new government took office, and since then it has imposed number of strict monetary and fiscal policies, including an annual corporation tax. So tax at this country is 40% in an attempt to bring the company out of its difficulty. As a result, the annual rate of inflation has fallen rapidly from high of 65 to its current level of 33%. This strict monetary and fiscal controls have made the companies popular in the larger cities and towns, but less popular in the rural areas, which seem to have suffered disproportionately from the strict monetary and fiscal policy. Yes, the government is popular in larger cities and towns, but not in rural areas from the strict fiscal and monetary policy. Coming to this, it is expected that the annual inflation rate will continue to fall in the coming few years. So this inflation you have to use. The government has decided to continue the progress made so far by encouraging foreign direct investment into the country. They want to bring more investment into their country now. So foreign direct investment. Recently, government representatives held trade shows international and offered business a number of concessions. What were those concessions? Zero corporation tax payable in the first 2 years of operation. I'm not able. Okay, zero in first 2 years. Okay, tax. Second, an opportunity to carry forward tax losses and write them off against future profits made after the first 2 years. You can carry forward tax loss, but made after first 2 years only. You can set off. The government representative also promised international companies investing in this one prime locations in towns and cities with good transport links. So there's also. Now coming to the Imoni, what is this company? Imoni is a large listed company based in US, which is the dollar. So for this Imoni, this is the base currency, US dollar. Manufactures high-tech diagnostic component for machinery which it exports worldwide. After attracting one of the ratios, of this country, Yilandwe is considering setting up an assembly plant in the country where parts will be sent and assembled into a specific type of component which is currently being assembled in US. So they are now from US. Currently, the part is assembled in US, but they are going to sell this component to the Yilandwe. They are going to assemble it, but the parts will come from US. So once assembled, the component will be exported directly to the companies based in European Union. After that, they will export it directly to UAE. This exports will be invoiced in euro. Now coming to financial and other data projections. It is initially assumed that the project will last for 4 years. So one assumptions, you have to state assumptions that it will state for last 4 years. The 4-year project will require investment. So this is your initial investment. Okay, investment. And this one also for plant and machinery. And this is your working capital to be made immediately. That's what we assume. Another assumption. Working capital will need to be increased annually at the start of each of the next 3 years by the inflation rate. So how working capital will be increased? By their inflation rate for the next 3 years. That means starting from year 0. And it is assumed that this will be released at the end of the project's life. As we all know that working capital is always released at the end of the project's life. That is an assumption always made. Now, wait a minute. It can be assumed that the assembly plant can be built very quickly. Another assumption. And production started almost immediately. Production is also started immediately. Don't know why I'm not able to highlight. This is because the basic facilities and infrastructure already in place, as the plant will be built on the premise and grounds of a school. So they are now taking school to build it. The grounds of the school. The school is ideally located near the main railway and highway. As a result, school will close, and generally currently studying this will be relocated to other schools in the city. So school will close. School will close. Oh, this is wasting my time. children will be relocated to others. The government has kindly agreed to provide free bus to the children to take school for a period of 6 months. So only for 6 months, government will help them for free buses to give parents time to arrange appropriate transport in the future for their children. This is one of the issues. The current selling price of each component is 700, and this price is likely to increase by the average EU rate of inflation from year 1 onwards. That means from the first year itself, we have to increase this 700. Number of components expected to be sold every year. The quantity is given, the units. The part needed to assemble into the component will be sent from US by Imoni company at the cost of 200 per component unit. So for if you are looking from the point of Yilandwe, it's a cost, okay, component cost or a part cost, whatever you can say, from which Imoni will currently earn a pre-tax contribution of 40 per each component. So they will earn pre-tax contribution of 40. However, Imoni feels that it can negotiate with the government and increase the transfer price of 280 per component unit. They feel that they can negotiate with the government, this country's government, and increase the transfer price to this. The variable cost related to assembling the plants and component are currently this one per component unit. So variable cost is this. The current annual fixed cost of the assembly plant are this. Fixed cost, okay? Fixed. So, oh my God. So the fixed cost is this. All these costs wherever incurred. Okay, see, the cost can incur in any country, but they will be expected to increase by that country's annual inflation from every year from year onwards. So all cost will increase from year onwards by their country's inflation. Even a basic corporation tax on profits at an annual rate of 20% in US. If you see, tax is less there compared to Yilandwe where it was 40%. The tax in both US and Yilandwe is payable in the year that the tax liability arises. So no issue of that. Okay, it is easy. A bilateral tax treaty exists between the two countries. Tax allowable depreciation is available on 25% per year on the machinery on a straight line basis. See, tax allowable depreciation, you always have to be aware. You always have to be prepared for this, that it will be asked. And here it is easy because usually you have to do calculation if it's a reducing balance, but this is on a straight line basis, 25% on a straight line basis. Imoni will expect annual royalties from the assembly plant to be made every year. Okay, so they can expect annual royalties. It's like an income for them. But if you are looking from the Yilandwe, it will be a cost because they have to pay the royalty. I'm not able to underline anything. That is the issue. Okay, the annual royalty fee is currently 20, but the amount fees that you can negotiate this with the government and increase the royalty fee by 80%. So currently it is 80, but they can increase the royalty fee by 80% because they feel that they can negotiate with the government. This is also one kind of assumption only. Once agreed, this fee will not be subject to any inflation increase in the previous 4-year period. So this will not increase by the inflation. If M&A does not decide to invest in an assembly plant, it exports from US. Okay, if Imano does decide to invest in the assembly plant in this country, it exports from the US to the EU will fall and it will incur redundancy cost. So it's exposed to the US from the US to the EU. Okay, before it was exporting, it will fall, and the cost has been given. How much they are going to lose the contribution from selling to you and that redundancy. So as a result, Imone's after-tax cash flows will reduce by the following amount. It has been given to you. If they decide to invest in this country, Yilandwe, they're going to lose the export from the US to EU. So how much they're going to lose? That lost contribution and redundancy is given. Imone normally uses no cost of capital 9% to assess new projects. However, the finance data suggests that the Imone should use a project-specific discount rate of 12% instead. So discount rate is 12%. Okay. You have been given the current spot rates from euro to dollar, euro to per euro, Yilandwe per euro and the per dollar. And you have been given for the first 4 years, and this is the current. Current means this is year 0. Okay. You need that also as well. Coming to the expected inflation rates, you have been given the EU inflation rate for year next 2 and 3 year onwards, and US inflation from year 1 onwards 3% only. So did you see I have finished this reading in 9 minutes. More time I required, a little time than 9 minutes because I was stuck. in between to underline. So that's why you see how I have managed it. You have to time like this and read it in that time. I have finished this reading in time 9 minutes. Okay, of course I require more time to solve this because I'll be explaining you in between, so that I cannot count. But when you are doing the calculate the question, you have to do it in time, my dear. You cannot give yourself the luxury of having all the time in the world to do this question. Coming to part A. Okay, we'll go through part A. The reason I'm going through part A is not because to explain you anything. This is self-understood. The reason I'm going is I want to explain you the theory part of it, so that you don't have to go to the textbook again and know this. So part A, part A, part A. Okay, part B will focus later. Anyway, okay, just see how it is. Benefits and drawbacks is for 5 marks. So benefits is one paragraph, drawbacks is another paragraph. Okay, each benefit is given in different paragraph. This. The main word, as I told you, like I told for question 49, reverse takeover. Keyword, what is the keyword? Focus on that, learn that only. In the exam, you'll be able to discuss. You will be able to, trust me, once you understood the concept using that keyword, you know how to discuss it. It's just that you have this so much of fear that what if I'm not able to? What if I forgot? No. You have to know the keyword, that's it. So Emmanuel may be able to benefit from setting up his own plan as opposed to licensing in a number of ways. What are those ways? First, they want to attract foreign direct investment and is willing to offer a number of financial concessions to foreign investors which may not be available to local companies. So they are saying setting up own plan is better than licensing because of foreign direct investment, and the other reason is concessions, the financial concessions which may be available to foreign investors but which may not be able to local companies. Second, company may also be able to control the quality of the components more easily and offer better and targeted training facilities if it has direct control of the labor resources. If you're having a licensing, you will not have the direct control of the labor resources. So you cannot control the quality also. But in this case, since you have invested, we invest directly in that company, quality also you can control. Better and trained, you can train the staff and direct control of the labor. So this is the second advantage. So this is number one. Number two, what was number one? Financial concessions and attract foreign investment. Two, quality can be controlled, better quality of staff or labor resources. Point three, the company may also be able to maintain the confidentiality of his project. Okay. Whereas assigning the assembly rights to another company may allow that company to imitate the products more. If they have the right, give assembly rights, they can imitate the product. But if the company is investing in that country, they will be able to maintain the confidentiality. So confidentiality, another advantage. Rest, what they are saying is they're explaining that point, how they are going to maintain confidential. They are just explaining it. Coming to 4, see point 4 and 5, it's not needed because when you have explained 3 advantages, you can just explain 2 drawbacks and get the 5 points. That's it. Or you can give 2 advantages and 3 disadvantages. But it should not be that you are giving 5 advantages only, no disadvantages. You think you will get the 5 marks because you gave 5 points. No, you will not get. It has to be balanced. It cannot be that you are just giving 4 advantages and only 1 drawback. Of course, there will be more drawbacks which you don't know maybe. But even if in this type of question, what happens is just say more advantages. Let's say you have 5-6 advantages. It does not mean that you have to give all 5-6 advantages. Once your limit is over, let's say in this 3 advantages you wrote enough. Now go and write the 2 drawbacks. But it is better to know more so that you can discount and write less. But if you are having less from that, you cannot make it more less. If you're knowing less, that means you have to know it correctly to get the marks. But if you're having more, you have an opportunity that you don't have to write all. Just take whatever you want to write about. So knowing more is better, but you don't have to write everything. In this case, they have given you 5 advantages. This is the reason why they give us every candidate will be referring to this later on. Marking scheme, they also know. So they want the students to learn points from here. Get to know more and more. That's why they include all the possible advantages and disadvantages. So you don't have to write all this. That's why you see the answers are very lengthy and very complex and very much explained. It is for your explanation purpose, but in the real exam this is not how you have to answer. So but still I will explain you the additional two advantages. Investing internationally may provide opportunities for risk diversion, especially if the money shareholders are not well diversified internationally themselves. And the fifth is finally, direct investment may provide the company with new opportunities in the future, such as follow on options. It is about option. Real option is there. Maybe they might have an option to expand. Who knows? Coming to the drawback. Drawback also, if you see, by looking at the paragraph, I know 1, 2, 3, 4. That there are 4 disadvantages. This is again for your explanation purpose. Just writing 2 is enough because you wrote 3 advantages. Drawbacks. Direct investment of a new plant will probably require higher. Yes, if you're investing directly, of course you require higher and upfront fees compared to licensing. Higher upfront cost. Compared to licensing, the assembly rest to a local manufacturer may be able to utilize the save cost on other projects. Yes, if you're taking licensing, cost is saved. So when the cost is saved, that cost saved you can use on some other projects, right? That's what they have explained. Two, the company will most likely to be exposed to higher risk involved with international investment. What are those higher risk? Political risk is there, cultural risk is there, legal risk is there. See, this risk you are not memorizing. This is not memorized. Which type of candidate will be able to answer this? Only those candidate who has a wide experience, knowledge of what are the risks that could take place when it's an international net present value or international investment. You just have to think like that. You must have memorized 10, 12 types of risk. But what is applicable in this scenario, that you have to use your knowledge. Your intelligence is required here. You cannot talk about marketing risk. It is not relevant here in this case. You cannot talk about some other kind of risk, maybe health risk or safety or technological risk. It does not apply here. What applies here is from your international investments point of view, political risk, yes. Cultural risk, yes. Legal risk. Whenever it's an international investment, these are the main issues. Even exchange rate risk, you can say. That also you can include. So with the licensing, this risk may be reduced somewhat. Yes, when you're going for licensing, this risk might be reduced. Somewhat reduced. They are not saying you will not have this risk, then also you will have, but not so much. Licensee, however, the licensee, because it will be a local company, may understand the operational system of doing business in the Yilandwe better. It will therefore be able to get off the ground quicker than the company, on the other hand, will need to become familiar with the local system. So they need to become familiar on the local system and culture, which may take time and less efficient. Initially, it will be less efficient. Say somewhere someone from the other country comes and invests in our country, they will take more time because they have to learn the system also, our local system, they have to learn our culture also. But someone who is already a licensee, who is already in our country, the local company, they already know our culture and system. So for them it will be easier, it will be more efficient, takes less time also. So this all are just practical. If you know, you don't even have to buy hard or spend so much of time studying on these things from your textbook. All these are practical. Coming to point 4, but in your exam you don't have to write all this 4. Okay, this I'm telling you in my video is for your better explanation. I'm explaining you this point so that later you don't have to go to the textbook and study. Because what happens, textbook learning is only one time. You study one time, you forget the next time. When you see a video, when you hear someone else speaking on this, you will never forget. Trust me. That's why I recommend you to watch the videos where someone is explaining like this. Because this video, you can hear this video multiple times. But will you be able to read multiple times? You will get bored. You can even it's not necessary that you have to see my video only. You can even hear, put your earphones and hear my audios, whatever I say. Even when you're traveling also, you see how much time you're saving. It's not that if you're busy, you're traveling somewhere, or you're sitting free idle, right? You can just hear my video. Of course I'm speaking, so all these are very valuable, so you can just hear. It's not necessary that you have to see all the time, watch my video or sit very seriously. No, Anytime you can hear all this theory part where I'm speaking and all. So that shall benefit you, right? You can even hear multiple times also. Share with your friends also on the spot. But when you read something, you're not able to do that. You are not able to pass on to someone else your knowledge. But this, you have the advantage. You also get benefit, others also, let others also benefit. So coming to point 4. That's why I try to explain each and every point. Otherwise, I could skip this. I would have told you to read it. Most of you would not do that. I know that. Because learning theory, learning all these points is very boring. Coming to point 4, the last one. Similarly, investing directly may mean that it costs the company more to train the staff and possibly require steeper learning curve from them. More to train the staff, cost, and require a steeper learning curve. However, the scenario does say, see the scenario, how you are linking to the scenario, very important. See, every time you cannot link to the scenario. Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Why? Because for every point you are giving, you don't have anything from the case study to as an evidence to quote, but one or two points will be there where you can relate to the case study. Let's say for example the last point. So wherever you have this opportunity that this you can refer to the case study, there is some statement or something is there, use that opportunity and do it, quote it, link it to the case study. How you are linking it? Like here. However, the scenario does say that the country has a, this is how you are linking. You are not saying this. This is said in the case, you are just repeating it here. That the country has a motivated and a well educated labor force, and this may mitigate the issue somewhat. Somewhat this will reduce the issue. Because they told the country is poor, but it is motivated and well educated labor force is there. Okay, we'll take you to that part also. Let's say it is up. It is in the very beginning, I remember. Here. Although Yilandwe's population is generally poor, its people are nevertheless well educated and ambitious. You are linking this point, this one. This point you are linking. That is the reason I'm taking you through all this theory part also. Linking is very important. Never miss that opportunity of linking. It's not that every point you explain you have to link to the case study. No. Wherever you can, wherever there's an opportunity. If you go through other advantages and disadvantages, you you might not be able to link. Right? Let's say the first drawback, they told higher upfront cost. Anywhere in the case study did they refer that this will be more and that will be less? They didn't tell. So how can you link? But it does not mean that you cannot give the point. You can. Coming to part B, part A is over, and let's go to the marking scheme also. Part A, benefit 2 to 3 marks, drawback 2 to 3 marks. I told you it's always balanced. Okay, so don't think, okay, most of you, this is so funny because 5 marks is an odd mark, right? So when you divide this by 2, it is 2.5. So it's not like 2.5, 2.5. Then how do you write? That means 2 marks, 2 points you write and half? No, in that case, if it is an odd number, divide it like 2 or 3, 2 advantage, 3 disadvantage, or 3 advantage, 2 disadvantage, like that. Okay, so coming to part B, my favorite. This is my favorite. First heading, to, from, date, subject, everything. Report on the proposed assembly plant. The subject is this is a report. Okay, on the proposed. So what is this report? You have to give that report a name. Don't just write a report. That report should have a name. What is this report? Report on the proposed assembly plant in this country. That is your topic. Okay. Before I take you to the report, before I even tell you, I told you this yesterday also. Question 49 you can watch. Now I'm repeating again. I'm going to set up a report format here. Report. Okay. On the proposed blah 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 blah. Rest all copy paste. Okay. I'm not going to write everything. Then comes your introduction. Then comes my introduction. Leave some space. Leave some space now. Okay. Assumption. Okay. How am I going to write? What is the report format? For that, again, go to my requirement B and check how it is suggested. First one is financial acceptability. Evaluate the financial acceptability. Okay. Next, assumptions and estimates. Assumptions, other risks and issues, and recommendation. So if you see the subheading also, it is assumptions made in producing the financial projection. So assumptions. You see, I'm leaving some space after introduction because I don't know how much space I will need. Roughly, you have to draw this report format, by the way. Okay, assumptions and then rest all. Okay, I'm going to leave some paragraph because there will be so many assumptions, and then other risks and issues. It's a different subheading. This is my third subheading. Coming to that, after other risks and issues, if you see recommendation. Okay, so here it is a recommendation. Of course, I'm going to give some, these are the different paragraphs. Under this is one assumption, 2, 3, 4, 5 assumptions, maybe. Okay, introduction will be maybe 1 to 3 lines. And then recommendation, because they require recommendation. And this is my last point. Under this, maybe 1, 2, 3 paragraphs I'm writing. After that, so this, from this only you are getting your professional marks. Recommendation. After that, if you see report compiled by all your appendix and all. Okay. Let's say I have 3 appendix. Appendix 1. Okay. I'm going to do some working. And then appendix 2. It's not fixed, okay, that you should have only 3 appendix or only 4. It depends from question to question. Sometimes you just have 1 appendix. Sometimes you might have 2. Sometimes you might have 5, 6 appendix also. Depends how many things you have to calculate. The more things you have to calculate, the more appendixes. So let's say appendix 3 only. So this is your format of the report. Let me zoom out and show you. It looks small. Okay, if you see, it is very small. Just see the format of the report. Okay, basically this is the report only. Let me draw that line also, like a report. Okay, so just see, this is the report only. This is your format, starting with report, introduction, assumption, this recommendation, and then appendixes at the end. But when I start, I have to start. Now I'm zooming out. Okay, I'm starting from my appendix here. Here, appendixes, appendix 1, appendix 2. Then after this, when I complete my appendix, I will go and write here blah blah. Wait. Then I'm going to start. Okay, introduction you can write. Introduction you can start first. Start introduction. That's it. And then fill up your report. I'm not able to write anything again. So I will do this with my mouse. Okay, let's something. I'm writing in the introduction. And then now using appendix. Okay, maybe appendix 1 I have used here. So some assumptions. So like this, I will complete my report. Okay. Now, let me take you to the original report and see how it is. You can see assumptions, you can see risks and issues, you can see recommendation, and even in this report also there are more than required, by the way, according to your marks. Okay, because they are giving you all the possible reasons. Maybe some of you must have wrote that first point which they gave in your answer. Maybe some of you might have wrote that last point and didn't write the first point. That's why they give you all the possible answers, so that you can mark yourself across this by looking which points you included. So now, starting with your introduction. If you see introduction, only 5 lines. So what is your introduction? Everything which is asked in your requirement B. That's what you have wrote in your introduction also. This report considers. So start with this report considers. Okay, this is like it's like fixed. Okay, this report considers, or the purpose of this report, or in this report. So like this report considers all. Okay, So this is fixed, rest all changes based on your case study. This is about financial investment in the country or not. So this report considers whether or not it would be beneficial for this company to set up part assembly plant in this country. It takes account of what? Financial projection presented in detail in Appendix 1 and 2. Discuss the assumptions. This is also in your introduction. It should come. You're discussing assumptions made in arriving at the projections and discuss other non-financial issues, maybe risks and issues which should be considered. How the report concludes, that has to be in your introduction. It should be given in your introduction. How it's going to conclude? By your recommendation. So you say that the report concludes by giving a reasoned recommendation on the acceptability of the, don't just say recommendation. Recommendation on what? You have to say, specify that also. So the report concludes by giving a reason recommendation on the acceptability of the project, whether you have to accept the project or not. That's what you are recommending. What you are exactly recommending, you have to write in your introduction. Just 5 lines. Now coming to your assumptions. What are the assumptions made? Before you make assumptions, first you have to do a calculation under your appendix. So we are going directly to the appendix. We are not going through the report now, because you cannot complete the report before going to assumption. Before, even if I show you the answer, what do you have to calculate first? What is your starting point? In this type of question, you have read everything. What is your starting point? What do you have to, okay, tell me this, what do you have to get? You have to get net present value. Okay, let me write it here. Okay, let me write this side. You have to get net present value. So to get net financial acceptability, right? Net present value, how do you start net present value? Net present value is what? It is about cash flows. Cash flow is from what? Start from sales, then your cost, all your cost, fixed, variable, whatever cost, taxable depreciation. Yes, you have to deduct it. Then initial investment is required. Yes, then tax, of course, tax. Then working capital. Then you have to discount this, use cost of capital. That's it. So your starting thing is what? Numbers. One, sale. So calculate sale. Sale also easily you cannot get. If I show you in the marking scheme, it is 3 marks to find sale. 3 or 4 marks it was. Why? Because there are a lot of calculations you have to do before you get to the sale. Sale is directly not given to you. That also for the 4 years. Project is for 4 years. So 4 years cash flow basically. Appendix 1, it falls in Appendix 1. Why it falls in Appendix 1? Because without that, how will you get your net present value? That is your financial acceptability. So starting with sales. Year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here they are doing it in order, everything is correct. But in your paper, when you have to do, I think March it is paper based paper, so use your ruler. Okay. Properly, my one is not proper, I'm not using ruler, but do lines. Put columns like this. You will be putting columns like this. Not too small so that you cannot fit your numbers, not too big also that is taking so much of space that at the last year's cash flow you cannot put also in that paper. Don't do that. Equally divide it in 5 columns starting with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you get the paper, first do that. Take your ruler, construct 5, actually 6, because description also you have to give. For that it needs a wider space. So description, year 0, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 columns are required. After that, next thing what you have to do is this. You are writing this as millions. Okay, of course, you are not writing 81191000000. You are not writing so many of zeros. So to omit that, write up how you want to deal with it. I always prefer like this, not to write all the zeros, to drop out the zeros at the end, so that number becomes small. It looks neat and it does not waste your time. Also, you save time. In fact, imagine how much of time you are wasting writing all the zeros, sitting and writing 00000000000. Okay, coming to the sales revenue. Sales revenue, When you make the table, even in appendix 1, I know it's a working, but when you're making this cash flow table, working has to be separate. Not in the main table, you're not doing your working for sales revenue. That's why it is in working 2 here. See the neatness and tidiness from here itself. This is what is expected from you. Even your one should be like this. The way how the answer is presented to you now. Did you say anything is cut? All the workings are somewhere else. And they clearly told it's working 2. They gave a number also. For you, it could be working 1, 2, 3, depending on your one. Okay. For them, it's working 2. Maybe because working 1 or something else. So working 2. Even part cost, if you see. Next, you have to deduct part cost. Working 2. Variable cost, what do? Fixed cost, no work, no working. Okay, you deduct. Royalty fee, working 3. You have to deduct royalty fee because you have to pay royalty fee to the Imani. For Imani, it's a fee, it's a income. But for this country, Lenby, it's a cost. That's why you're deducting it. Next, tax allowable depreciation. No working is required for tax allowable depreciation here because it is straight line basis. Just take 25% on the cost of machinery. That's it. Taxable profit or loss. In here, you have some extra things. If you see, that will work out later. First, we'll go to the sales revenue and the working 2. So when you have to do this type of table, okay, mind you, take one whole page. Okay, what do I say? What is that thing where you don't even want to waste one line? You want to utilize every possible line that you are taking so much of space. What is that word called? I don't know in English, but in Hindi it is like conjuice. So don't be so conjuice. Okay, take as much space as you want. You have enough papers. Extra papers will be given to you on the exam. So don't think that you're wasting. Okay, you're trying to squeeze. You're trying to squeeze all your words into one line, one page. Don't do this. Okay, since we are all in a confusion, how much lines do we need for that cash flow? Whether it's half a page, whether it's 5 lines, 10 lines, 20 lines. So that for that also I have a solution. The solution is one whole page. Keep for that. That's it. One whole page for appendix 1. Best strategy, because more than one page you don't need also for any appendix, because you have this A4 sheet, A4 paper is there. So more than that is not required. Everything will be able to be fit in one page, or maybe less than one page. I know it's less than one page. Does not mean that in the, after that down below only you have to write the appendix 2. One whole page for appendix 1, one whole page for appendix 2. Like this, when you keep, you don't have to panic. Okay, no tension of how many lines you are. Some of you, I see you are counting lines. Okay, sales and then cost, and so this much line I need for appendix 1. What if you need more line towards the end, more than you planned? So keep one whole page for appendix 1. Best strategy. So this is why I told you, you will never get this all. No one will tell you all these things. Only in this channel, on my videos, you will see this comment. Yeah, and this advisors can be anywhere in my video. Maybe in the beginning I'm telling, maybe somewhere in between, maybe towards the end, whenever I remember. So that's why it is recommended that you watch the video without skipping any part. You skip one part, maybe you have missed a lot of things. Maybe in that part only I explain all the important things. So don't skip, dear friends. It is for your benefit. I'm doing all your, because ultimately my aim is for you to, I just want you people to pass with flying colors. Maybe ranking. Who knows that you might have ranked, getting world ranks and all, right? So coming to where am I? Okay, I was lost. I was down. Yes, starting with sales. Of course, when you're having sales, don't jump to part cost. First find that sales. So when you start, okay, let me show you here. Let me show you here how, if I am like this, I'm in your position now. This is my paper going on. I will first write year. Okay. Then I will write year 0, year 1. Okay. I will put a ruler nicely. 1. Again, see, it's equal. Okay. I'm not keeping so small like this. Okay. Or I'm not keeping too big like, or I am not having this big space also. No, of course it should be equal only. So don't do this. Okay, it is 2, this is 3, this is 4. This is my first thing I will do. Next, I will note in what I am writing. Next, starting with what? Sales. Then I have some cost, whatever the cost. Okay, this is working. Some working I will give number. Okay, then I have part cost. Then I have variable cost. Then I have fixed costs. Then I have royalty. Then I have blah 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 everything. Okay, but when I go to sales, I'm not focused about other things. Now I will go to working to, I will keep some space. I will keep one whole space. Maybe this is one space, one page, working to sales. Now I will do my calculation, blah 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 blah. Let's say I'm getting XX. So now maybe I have got sales XX. So now I'm going to put here XX like this. This should be my, now second I'm dealing with part cost. Let's say working 2. So now when I'm dealing with part cost, again I will go down to the next page to working 3, part cost. Okay, found something XX. Now I will use that. So like this I keep going up down, going shifting between pages to pages. But maybe some things like this fixed cost does not require working. That means from this figure itself I can just keep increasing and write the number. Okay, so this should be your strategy. Now coming to the main answer, sales revenue. As soon as I finish one thing, I'm going to put a tick mark. Okay, put a tick mark, that means I'm covered. Maybe in this video, guys, announcement, I might not be able to finish the whole question in this video, so part 2 will be coming for this. Because I have this, it is inbuilt, I don't know how to do it. I cannot record more than 2 hours. That's why if you see my videos are never longer than 2 hours. Like in one shot, I cannot record more than 2 hours recording. It cannot be more than 2 hours. So it's always, I try to keep it less than 2 hours. So if it exists more than 2 hours, part 2 will be there. So continuation of this will be there. The reason I cannot be fast also with you people. Okay, otherwise there's no use. So in between there are so many workings. That's why I told you one page is required. So it is in the appendix 2 only. See, this everything will come in that one page only. Let's say this is page 2 now. In your page 2, okay, not my page 2. So appendix 2. So appendix 2 now you are showing your workings. Unit 1, okay. Unit price and cost including inflation. Okay. Okay, this is, maybe you can use it, or maybe this, so this is optional. They have put it here like this. Basically they have put all the, what do I say, price after inflation they have put here. This you can put, or directly here itself when you're coming to 2, working number 2, directly here itself you can inflate it by inflation. In your working you can show that. You can do that also, or you can already inflate your prices and keep it ready in working one. That also you can do. Or the other thing, let's say first year, okay, you can inflate it by this. Year 1, what is the inflation for year 1? Okay, so like that also you can inflate. It was in euro. If you see the selling price and everything is in euro, so you inflate the euros rate. Euros rate, what was the euros rate inflation? Okay, euros inflation you have to use because it is priced in euro. If you see which inflation you have to use, it depends. Wait. Yes, your sale price, if you see, okay, selling price is 700. So this they told will increase by EU rate of inflation from year 1 year onwards. So 700, it is not that years 1 is 700, year 1. Okay, year 0 it is 700. Year 1 you have to increase it by inflation. Which inflation? You have been given three countries inflation. One is Yilandwe, one is euro, one is dollar. You have to use U. This to inflation 5 and 4%. Next 2 years, that means year 1, year 2, 4%, and year 3, year 4, 4%. So 5% of 700. You have to increase it. Now we'll see. Okay. So if you increase 700 by 5, okay, let's say here. It is 735. From here on, okay, and then 735 into 1.05. It is 772. From here onwards, you have to increase it by 0.4, not 5. Because year 3 onwards. And next also 4. So 803 and 805. Just round up to the whole number. They have rounded up. It's always better to round up to the whole number rather than working in full number in decimals. I recommend, okay? Or let's say you don't want to make that table number 1. They have done it because they don't want to show in their work calculation. So here you can do it. Maybe 150. Okay, let's say I'm just doing for year 1 sales revenue. 150 was the quantity. It is given that quantity 150 into 700. What was the inflation? 5% into 165. Exchange rate you have to use for LNB. This also you can do. In the working itself, you can show the inflation that you're increasing by the inflation. Or you can have separate working one. So we'll go by this paper separately, okay? By inflation. If you're coming to the part, okay, you have to be little careful when you're coming to the part. But first we'll finish with the sales. So sale is 150. This is your quantity. 735. The price you have used here, 735. And into 165. This is exchange rate. So this will go to your final table because you want in this currency. Even in your working, you have to show which currency you're working on. And when you go to the sales, you will see 18, 191, 66, 7. Okay, the final answer only you're putting in the sales revenue. But coming to this again, okay, we'll see why 165 and all those things, okay, multiplied by this. So coming to this, which exchange rate you are using? This, we'll see A and B, A or B, A or B. We are using B because it is this and this euro. It has nothing to do with dollar here right now. We are dealing with euro, sale price is in euro, and we have to convert to Yilandwe's currency because in that country only we are having the investment. So basically you have to multiply by this. Okay, because 165 Yilandwe is 1 euro. So let's say you are having sale. What was the 735? 735 was in euro. So in Yilandwe, if you have to take, this is question mark, cross multiply. That's why you have to multiply it. You have to know whether when you have to divide, when you have to multiply. So 735 into 165, you will get in Yilandwe's, this one. That's why it is 735 into 165. Of course, into the quantity also. What is the quantity? Quantity is given here. This all. 150 for year 1. 480. This is fixed, okay? This does not change. Only your price will be inflated. And you are multiplying this by 150, okay? This is 150,000 actually. But when you show in the table, you're dropping down to 3 zeros. Okay? You're multiplying here. Wait, where's the working? Multiply by 150. You're dropping down to 3 zeros. So when you find the final answer also, if you calculate it like this, you have to drop down the 3 zeros and write it. 150 into 735 into 165. It is 1819 1250. Divide this by 1000. If you get this answer, you will get it as, okay, this one. Multiply 150 into 735 into 165, you will get a bigger number, not 18191. It is, the whole number is this. You have to divide this by 1000 because you're writing in millions. In million only. Because this is 150,000. You can even write 150,000 also. But you're dropping down the 3 zeros. That's what you're doing. So for the rest also, for everything else is the same. Coming to part cost. Part cost also quantity will be same only for the sales. Only the cost will change. Here it is 288. This time exchange rate is also changed. Exchange rate is also changed. Let's go to part cost. Remember the component part US is going to sell to. It's coming from US. So it's a cost for the Yilandwe. Part cost. That component which is coming from US. And the price, the transfer price, it was 200, right? At a cost of 200, but we are not using this 200. They told somewhere that they can, okay, here. They feel that they can negotiate with the government and increase the transfer price to 280 per component unit. So 280 without inflation. Every cost will increase by inflation. They told by that country. So $280. So when you inflate this 280, check the exchange rate. It is 3%. 3% only for all the years. US inflation. That's why you inflate 280 by 3%. That's why you are getting 288. And on 288, 3%. And then on that 3%, on that 3%. Every year you keep increasing and you will get an exchange rate also. Let me explain the exchange rate. It is not the previous one. Now you have to use A. You lend into dollar because dollar and lend with this. Again, here also you have to multiply when you have to convert to LNB. So you multiply by this. You see here, they are multiplying. Okay, that's how you are getting 288 here. From there, increase by 3% every year. Because it is 3% only for US. But don't forget to multiply by 120.1 to change it to LNB. And it is this. This only will go to your here. To your table. Just see. And it's in bracket. It will be deducted. Coming to variable cost. Again working to. Variable cost. Varying cost is in LNV already. So no need to multiply or change by using an exchange rate. Already it is in that currency. You just have to multiply that variable cost by the quantity. Quantity is same 154, 87, 33, 60. But what is the variable cost? Coming to variable cost. You have to be very quick in the exam. Here I'm taking my own time and searching out through the case. You have to be very quick. You have to know exactly where's the variable cost. That's why you have to annote. You have to write towards the text that paragraph, variable cost or this, that. Okay, variable cost is here. Okay, the variable cost. Just wait a minute. So the variable cost. Okay, where's the variable cost? Okay, the variable I have underlined also. Variable cost related to assembling the components and we are currently 15,960 per component unit. So this also should increase. But when you go to inflation, if you see here, inflation is only given for U and US. What about LNB? Go up. It is given here. This inflation 22% for year 1, 2, and 3 and 4, 9.8%. That's why. What was the inflation? Variable, sorry, before inflation? 15,960. 15,960. 1.22. How much you are getting? 19,471. So using 19,471, you have to increase it by 1.47. Okay. Now go to LNV and find the variable cost, isn't it? 19,471. And that increase it. So no working for variable. You just have to multiply that by the quantity, and get this will go to the table. If you see up here, variable cost, fixed cost, no working is there, that's why no working, just you have to increase it. What is the fixed cost? Fixed cost is 4,600. It is which currency? This currency Yilandwe. Again, same inflation only, 22%, 14.7, and 9.8 and 9.8. This have to increase. That's it. And inflation, by the way, one thing, don't go and multiply fixed cost by the quantity. You'd be very dumb if you do that. Okay, it's a fixed cost. Cost remains the same, so you don't have to multiply anything by the quantity, because only variable cost changes according to your quantity, not fixed cost. So fixed cost, just multiply it with inflation and get it. That's why there's no working for fixed cost. Now coming to the royalty fee. Yilandwe has to pay a royalty fee to US. So it is deducted from them. For them, it is working 3. Okay. So let me go to the royalty fee. Royalty fee, they told it was, where is it? Here, this paragraph. They expect royalty fee of 20 million, but this they expect it to increase it by 80% after negotiating with the government. So 20 into 1.8. That is 36 million, but it is in dollar if you see the currency. This again, you have to use this A or B. A or B, A. This, you have to use all this and change it to the currency, Yilandwe's currency. So here if you see royalty fee is working 3. Number it please. Everything is numbered and put a name also. Don't start doing calculation, any random calculation. Okay. Here also it was sales revenue, here it was part cost, here it was variable cost. Name. Coming to this, so 20 into 1.8 because increased by 80%, 36 million, again change it. This is then converted to here at the rate for this. So they have converted, they didn't show the conversion, but they have put the number here. This is the number. 4324, 4813 and all blah blah. Tax allowable depreciation is fixed 4,500. How 4,500? How 4,500? Tax allowable depreciation is what? 25% on the machinery. What is the amount of machinery? Go up. They told the machinery here. Machinery is 18 million, sorry. 21 is for plant and land and building. That is not needed. To 18. So 25% on 18 million is how much? 18,000 million. 4,500. So just deduct 4,500 taxable depreciation. Then you are getting your taxable profit and loss. If we see year 1, it's a loss. That means you don't have to pay any tax. Coming to that, we have been told under one of the 2 scenarios that, 2 things. That first 2 years you don't have to pay tax. And if there's any tax loss, okay, let's go to that also. Yes, this. Yes, here, number 1. 0 corporation tax payable in the first 2 years of operation. Any opportunity to carry forward tax losses. Any opportunity they told, they didn't say. Okay, so here in this question there is an opportunity. If there wasn't an opportunity to carry forward tax loss, that means every year it's a tax, you are having profit. Then 2 does not apply, but here it applies because we are having a loss in year 1. So an opportunity to carry forward tax loss and write them off against future profits made after first 2 years. That's why we are doing this. First year we are having loss 4354. So in the second year we cannot adjust it because they told after 2 years. So after 1 and 2 comes third year. So only this year, third year only you can adjust. So that's why you are taking this 4354 and here you are adjusting it with the profit of third year. And then you are having, and after that tax in Yilandwe is 40%. In the beginning itself they told. Don't get confused with the tax. The 2 countries tax rate is different. In US it is 20%. So then 40% you take the tax and add back. This is the new thing. Whatever loss you took, it has to be added back. Why? Because in the profit, it has been deducted to get that profit. The tax you have paid already, it is deducted. but you're having a loss, so it needs to be added back, because when you're having cash, it has nothing to do with cash, the loss. So you need to add this loss back with your profit to get cash flow. Same like depreciation. So anything loss carried forward, you need to add back. That's why this is added back in the third year only, not in year one. Okay. Depreciation, each year you have to add back. Now, one thing of depreciation I want to tell here is that you have to remember is that what do I say? See, if you see my question 49, there I didn't add back depreciation. Why? Because of this one assumption that depreciation is the same as the invested asset we invested. But here, did they give you any assumption like that? They didn't give you any assumption. So that when that assumption is not there, that taxable depreciation or depreciation is the same as amount asset we invested, then you have, when that assumption is not there, you have to add back tax allowable depreciation like normally. So that's why you are adding back your tax allowable depreciation. After that, you get your cash flow. Working capital is 9,600, and land, building, and machinery 18 million. 21 was your land and building. 18 is your machinery. You are adding and you are getting 39,000 million, and working capital. And this is basically how you are getting it. Working capital. For that, we have to go to the working capital part. It is 9,600, and they told working capital we need to be increased annually at the start of each of the next year by Yilandwe's inflation rate. So if you see Yilandwe's inflation rate, it will be 9,600 into 22%. That will be for year one. Correct? So if you see like that, it is 2112. When you come to the second year, what you have to do? It will be like this. Sorry, 2112. Some amount you will get. Okay? Let me get the exact amount. So 11,712. So on this 11,712, you have to take how many? What was the percentage for the second year inflation? 14.7%. That is 1721.66, but you round off to whole numbers 1. So 1722. So this will go in your third year. Third year, sorry. Third year, with this 11,712, you add. Basically, you are adding this with this. So 1722. What is it? 13,434 on this 9.8%. Because third and fourth year it is 9.8%, but fourth year be careful. Fourth year you are not taking 9.8%, because you are releasing it at the end of the project. 13,116. It was 1316.534, but they have rounded down. So 1316. Now when you go to this year, how you are getting this value? Basically just add all from year 0 onwards. Whatever it is, that total amount will be reinvesting. So year 1, 9,600 from 0, from 1, from year 2, from year 3. So it was 2112, 1722, 1316. Add up, it will add up to 14,750. This is the amount which will go to year 4, and it is without bracket. You will be getting it back. It will be recovered back. Next, you are getting the cash flow. If you now this cash flow, it's not enough. You have to take it back. Okay, it will be remitted to whom? There will be some of the you have to count in terms of dollar. This will be remitted back to US. That's why we have the next table. By using exchange rate, you have to convert this. You have to convert it because you have to get in terms of dollar. but that will be in part 2 of this video. So see you in part 2. Till then, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and take care.